Okay, I'd like to call this December 8th, 11th, December 11th council meeting to order. How we're going to proceed tonight, we're going to have a work session that hopefully ends by 7, and then we'll go right into our regular Christmas meeting that we do every year. So I want to start, I know Michael's here and he's pressed for time, so Michael, why don't you go to the podium first and do whatever you have to do, and I know you have some clients here this evening.
Thanks, everyone. Michael Gorman, 324 Radcliffe Street. I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight just to thank all of you for just continuously keeping the community safe and violence-free. And a perfect example last week from just watching it and the streams that were on and the news. I just think that it was so positive and wonderful, and I just personally, and I know a lot of people, I just wanted to say thank you, and to you, Chief, to the responders, to Merrill, to the, everyone, I don't want to leave anybody out, the emergency responders, the mayor, the council. I just thought it was really cool and important that people know that this is a place to be because it's safe and it's violent-free, and that all these people here in this room work as a team, and they do things logically and violence-free. And I just wanted to say thank you. And on another note, there's a tray of little goodies in there for you to say thank you, so make sure everybody gets some.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Second, I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Kevin and Joe. Kevin and Joe came to me and talked, and they have a business idea, business venture that they want to bring into town. And whenever someone comes to me and mentions that, I always think it's important. I always say I would go to council. I know that you may know them, you may not, but I think it's very important from the beginning to let council know that they're here to be part of this community, to add to the community with business. So I just wanted to introduce them, and they'll give you a little concept of what they're going to do. And if it's okay, they have a board that if we could put up there and you could review at your leisure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go around.
Go. Speak, you and Kevin got to go to the podium.
So I know you know me, Ralph. I don't know if you guys know me. My name's Joe Weston Jr. My dad's Joe Weston Sr. He put a lot of money and time into this town. My family's from here. And I'm looking for something to give back to Bristol Borough too. So I've been trying to think of different businesses I wanted to get into. I like construction, and I've been doing that for years and years and years. But this is something a little different. It's something that I have a little bit of passion for, and we think it's something fun and neat that will work perfect on Mill Street down here. And we've been trying to think of something to do with that building down there for a long time. Him and me were best friends. We grew up together. And this is kind of what we came up with. So what it is, it's going to be a gourmet burger joint. And that's what we want. We want to do fun, all natural, and organically grown stuff that, is trendy with people now. And we want to mix beef with wild game burgers, which is very popular now, like venison and boar and ostrich and stuff like that. It's really, really trending hard now. And we wanted to do other things like different types of fries, like purple fries, and we want to do apple pies, everything from locally grown farms in the area, right down to maybe even like Hank's for the soda, and local places for different stuff like the pies, maybe in the Amish, or bakeries from the area. So we want to do all fresh, all natural. We wanted to make it modern and contemporary, and we want it just to fit in perfectly. We want the building to look like the original Bristol Borough building. American flag, we want to repoint all the brick. We want to make it look like it's part of this town.
Oh, is that Kevin's garage?
Yes, it is.
Yes, my father's shop.
Yes, it is. We have a small book, if you guys want to get a closer look at it, that he can give you. But it's something we want to get going on immediately too. I don't like hesitating on stuff. Projects that when I start them, I finish them, and I always have. But we wanted to get this going and open by next summer. Maybe like July, 4th of July, I was thinking would be grand opening, perfect time. Gives us 5 months if we start in February building it. I don't think it's that hard to build, actually.
But the building's staying.
The
You're not
building's
building-
staying, absolutely.
Yeah, it's getting retrofitted.
Yep. So, I
I
mean,
guess, I know you wanted to give us a heads up on this thing, but I guess the process is you would come in, I guess, talk to Sally would be their first line of defense. And the solicitor. And the solicitor?
Yeah, they have to submit the idea to Sally. She needs to do a zoning review and determine whether they need to go to zoning or not.
Right.
So that's the first stop is the zoning officer.
Yeah, we just came to open up the idea.
Just so you know, I'm sorry, I should have probably said more. They're totally familiar that it's a process with part of it and all that, and zoning and.
I know the
They
inspector.
just wanted to present.
Yeah, so that was just a concept we came up with. It was an idea I came up with, and my best friend, he said, let's run with it. We put our heads together. I figured it would complete Mill Street. If
And
you look-
in your idea, and it looks really neat, because Mill Street's just.
It's great.
Such a beautiful street, but did we think about parking?
We're less than 400 feet away from Mill Street parking lot.
Okay, so you're not gonna incorporate parking
No, ma'am.
around there?
no, we
So
want
you're
to
just-
walk up.
We want
Yes.
people to walk up Mill Street. We want you to
Yes.
come
From
all the
the
way to the
dock.
end of Mill.
I would like them to walk up Mill Street too.
Yeah, we want to complete the circle of Mill. You get off at your boat, you come all the way up, you come all the way up one side, you go all the way down, just like you do when you go to New Hope, when you go to
An
Hoboken,
anchor-
New Jersey.
An anchor for the top of Mill Street is
Okay, yeah,
what we want
I'm
to do.
very familiar.
And it's Burger Garage. So the theme is cars and motorcycles, which is towns, a lot of mechanics, Bristol, this whole area is cars and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
But it wants to be contemporary, it's not going to be cheesy stuff hanging around. Michael's going to help design the whole interior and all the idea of how it's going to look and feel. So, I mean, that's basically our idea right there.
We're working on copywriting the name and the logo right now. It's getting rendered as we speak.
And guys, I can just tell you, first of all, I think it's an awesome idea, and I hope it works out. My wife and I just did something, on Mill Street, and any help that you guys need with like,
What
the
was it?
process aside from the borough, because there's a lot of stuff.
Oh,
that-
okay, E-Tree, right,
Yeah.
right.
There's a lot of stuff that, the borough has nothing to do with that can be time consuming and hard to navigate.
We wanted to fit right in with your place and the whole idea and just make all Mill Street just more complete with that being up there.
Very cool.
Looks exciting.
I'm sorry.
No, I said it looks exciting.
Thank you.
You like burgers, I know. Remember?
Yeah,
I
I
saw
like
you at the
burgers.
burger place, right?
Yeah.
And what's your friend's name?
best friend.
Joe Weston, yes.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, so,
Good luck.
what I would do is I would stop in, start with Sally, tell her what you got, let Michael, he works with Sally, come in and see what you guys take it from there, and this way, if you need zoning, you get, it takes a month to get on the schedule. So the faster you guys move, the quicker things will move, so.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much
you
for your
very
time.
much.
Wanna leave
Merry
this here,
Christmas.
or-
Yes.
Yeah, we'll leave that there.
Merry
I got a
Christmas
packet
to
for you too, so you can get a closer look at what's going on.
Good.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Merry
Good
Christmas.
luck to you.
Good luck, guys.
All right, thank you very much, I'm sorry.
I'll make a couple more. All right, guys, have a good one.
You too.
Anybody wants to?
Good night, thank you.
Have a good one.
Yes.
You want to go next?
Good evening. I'm Ed Murphy. I'm here tonight with Hussein and Izette Ganagan, the owners of the Golden Eagle Diner. Earlier this year, we started the process with Sally and your departments to seek approval to do a 325 square foot outdoor dining area at Golden Eagle. We've been working through the process. We went to your zoning hearing board to get some zoning relief in October, which we did. We've made an application to have a waiver of your land development review process. We've had reviews by your borough engineer. All will comply with items, all the items that your engineer asked us to address we have. So we're here tonight, I think, with a really clean request to seek a land development waiver. Bill was kind enough to share with me the draft of the approval resolution that he's worked up, and we have no issue with that. So I think we're good and ready to go. I'm happy to answer any questions and Hussein's here as well, if you have any questions for them.
I think if council has questions, anybody have any questions?
I actually just have one question, more curiosity design. Is it covered or is it going to be just open? Just didn't see that when I was looking at it. Open, so no roof?
Are you removing the entranceway on Bass Street? Is that going away, or?
We are consolidating multiple entrances and exits to clean that whole area up and create new green area right out front so that it's no
Moving the sign
longer...
as well?
Right, so it's no longer confusing and dangerous. Yep.
I think that old sign was in a bad spot. A lot of people hit that.
I did back in the day.
Yeah, I know, and I know some people that did, so I'm
They
glad,
reverse on it.
I'm glad you're getting
Inside
rid
an
of that.
island, so if you hit it, you're going to hit something else.
So this was in there, but I think Louis is reviewing it, am I correct, Lou?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
in everybody's packet. We can discuss this more if we need to, but if not, it'll be an agenda item at 7 o'clock to be voted on.
Right, and I think, talking to Jim, that as long as everybody's good with it, we'll leave you go do your work session, and we
Yeah.
won't have to come back unless, if you want us to
No,
stay,
you
we'll
don't
stay.
need to be here.
Everybody good? Good. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, good luck.
With the 10 bucks they just down, or they suggested before, 10 bucks to put it in. Because it does back up then when you're in.
All right, Herbie, what do you have, buddy?
Just a couple things. Just to mention that this time of year that heaters, people should have their heaters checked if you haven't had it done already in your chimney. Within the last 2 weeks, we had a serious dryer fire on Buckley Street. Luckily, it was confined to the dryer, and so that's usually a maintenance issue where people need to clean the lint traps and make sure that the ductwork is clear on your dryers. And then two other things. One is, every year we get a lot of cooking fires. Usually people are distracted, fall asleep, go out, get on the telephone, and some of those, one we had within the last 2 months was fairly serious, that it got into the kitchen cabinets and caused a lot of damage. And then the last thing I just want to mention, with the Christmas season here and all the lights and lighting that goes up on people's houses, is to make sure that you don't overload your electrical circuits. The Santa Run will be December the 16th at 1 o'clock. It's going to start. There's been some stuff on Facebook already for that. And then the last thing I want to mention, we had a training for the Fire Department Safety Committee that we're going to start, which hopefully next year will get us a 5% discount on the workers' comp, and we had 43 firefighters attend that training, including the mayor.
Good.
So let me just back up 1 minute. The Santa Run that comes around on the fire truck,
Right.
that's what you're referring
Yes.
to? It's going to be in the afternoon?
Yes.
Not at night?
No.
Okay, I just want people to understand at home.
Yeah, that's a switch. Usually we've done it in the evening,
You know
but
where you're starting, so we
I
can,
don't have the exact starting location. We could try to get a map to get that out on Facebook.
approximately how long do you think it'll take?
I couldn't
What
even
does it
begin.
usually take you? Do you have any idea?
Hours.
Yeah, that's what I want to.
Yeah, no, I don't know, and I'll
I'm
try and
not-
get that information, and we'll get that out on Facebook.
I'm not trying to be funny, I just, this way, if we know where you're starting.
People can schedule their time
Right,
with their kids.
exactly, that's why I'm saying it, okay.
All right, well, we're going to be advertising on a TV channel, I
Good.
guess,
Right.
So maybe you could say we're starting in whatever. But I just wanted to clarify because a lot of people always remember it being at night.
Yes.
So during the day's nice, the kids are up and,
Right, it'll make it, and then it's also easier getting down some streets that you don't have to, you can see a lot. The visibility for the fire trucks getting down the street, especially the tight streets, will be a lot better.
Well, it gets dark at 4 anyway, so.
What were those times again, Herb?
It's going to start at 1, yes,
all right.
Thank you.
So December 16th at 1 PM.
yes.
Anybody have any questions for the fire chief? Chief?
Thank you. Just want to bring up, talk to Mr. Dillon about this and the mayor. We're going to be looking to, at the 400 block of Bristol Pike, out in the area of Deli and stuff like that, we're going to be asking that area to be made a no stopping or standing zone. Basically, what the problem is, we had a pretty serious accident out there a while ago, is the shoulder, after it was redone by PennDOT, can't accommodate tractor-trailer trucks. So for an issue of safety, that's going to be coming forward to you. Fortunately and unfortunately, we're announcing the resignation of part-time police officer Jake Allen. Served us for the past 2 years, phenomenal officer, young officer, was again picked up by Upper Providence. I'll be starting with them very shortly. The Mill Street stop sign, talk of the town. It's going to be a learning process, and it's an education process for us. We understand that it's not unusual. We do think it's doing its job. We think people are paying more attention down here at stop. We've issued over 200 warnings, physical warnings to people, so we're still working on that. And again, just back to Pond Street, Thursday's incident developed very, very quickly. But I really like to take just a minute here and thank the following individuals, and I hope I get everybody. First of all, the mayor and council for approving our initiative last year to become part of the Bucks County South SWAT team. With that foresight, all that manpower and all those resources that came to us as part of a team instead of part of a request. And both financially and logistically was a home run. People we have to really thank: Bristol Township Police Department, the Ben Salem Township Police Department, Tully Town Police, Falls Township Police, Langhorne Borough, Middletown Township Police. Believe it or not, Upper Makefield responded to a call in our town during that night. Bucks County Communications, Bucks County Detectives, Bucks County Sheriff's Department, Bucks County Emergency Management, Bucks County EMS, the U.S. Marshal Task Force. Very sincere and special thanks to Merrill Winslow, the Emergency Manager of Bristol Borough, an incredible resource and asset.
As always.
More importantly, and even just as equal, Bristol Borough Fire Police. Again, people out there doing this for free. Unbelievable. The Bristol Borough Fire Department put themselves on standby. Carol, from her own staff, and the Grundy Ice Rink provided shelter and food for the officers during the event. The borough manager and staff, we had a lot of logistical questions that we needed answered right away, especially when we were evacuating residents, and they were invaluable. The teachers, staff, and administration of the Bristol Borough school systems, and anyone I inadvertently left out. The Bristol Borough Police Department and civilians performed exemplary. There was a lot of very unique things that had to be handled by our officers specifically during that event and our personnel, from our parking enforcement officers to our administrative staff down there, everything. We had a fantastic support from the mayor and the council president during the entire incident. And the last people I really want to thank is the citizens of Bristol Borough, and especially the parents of the school children in Bristol Borough. This is a situation, and I have been through a lot of these situations in my 30-plus years doing this. However, not one in such a tight-knit community. It's very difficult for us to tell you that we have your children, we have your grandchildren, but they're safe and out of harm's way, and you're going to be inconvenienced for the next several hours, and it's very taxing on everybody. However, my job and the job of my officers is to make sure that tomorrow you can hug your grandchildren, you can hug your kids. All right? So again, I can't thank all of you enough, and the people of this town and the support that we had.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just, from being involved with the mayor, I know you thanked a lot of people, but we owe you a great deal of thank yous. You did an outstanding job. I was really impressed.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, and I want to let you know, I went to pick up my grandson at 1:50, and Officer Pete Fate came out and explained everything to all of us. And of course, I told my son, I'm not staying here, you can get here. But I mean, the kids were in good hands. The crossing guards stayed out till 5:30, waiting to see if the kids were going to have to walk home. You did an exceptional job just taking care of this whole situation. And like you said, even the fire police, I mean, that doesn't stop her from getting out there and blocking off the streets no matter what. Virginia Burton is like an amazing person.
Yes, she is. I'm glad, again, I knew I was going to miss somebody. and the crossing guards were one of those groups, so thank you so much for bringing that up.
Thank you.
And just, there was a rumor out there, and I wanted just to spell it, because we locked down every school in town. All right, and so a lot of people said, some people were freelancers and stuff. We left it up between ourselves and some of the school administration that we were only going to let certain students, and I'm not going to get into all the details and stuff, go, but everybody had to go with a parent
Yes.
or a guardian, because everybody knows what this town gets like once the kids get out of school, and their well-being was our number one. So thank you.
Thank you for protecting them.
My daughter works as a substitute, but she goes from one school to the other. And she said that she happened to go from the one school to the other in the middle of everything. She kept trying to swipe her card. Every door, she couldn't get in, right? So she said all of a sudden, all these people came to the window, get in your car. She was like looking around like, what the heck's going on, you know? Get back in your car, it's an emergency. So she said, all right. She gets in her car and she goes to see her father, because her father's on the school board. He says, Morgan, tells her what's going on. She said, oh my God, I can't get back in. He said, don't worry about it, But she said that it was like so quiet around, it was like dead around there, So, but I want to say, you guys did such an amazing, amazing job. People have come up to me and said, we are so lucky to have your squad, the whole group. You guys are amazing, and we really appreciate it, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Especially the kids from the parents from the school. They were like so happy that, you guys took care of everything. Thank you.
It's kind of hard after all the good things have been said about the effort that our police department and everybody involved did. But I have to tell you, I could not have been more proud that day when we finally got done of the outstanding job that our police department did under the direction of Chief Henry. If some of the emergency personnel understand what it takes, when you got to sit there and you're the incident commander as he was, the mental checklist that he's got to go through relative to closing schools. Are my police officers okay? How am I going to get people in here? Is SWAT going to come? Has somebody contacted the county? All those things are going through his mind, and he's delegating. And on top of that, we've got somebody, barricaded in the house. So, when you begin to think about all those things that he had to put into action, fortunately having somebody like a Merle Winslow there as an EMA coordinator, being able to, if the chief needs to get a hold of somebody at the school, Merle's got the numbers. If he needs to get a hold of the borough manager, which he did, and I thank Jim for everything that he did, and the staff up here who did an outstanding job. And that's what it takes. It's the whole team. Everybody in this borough, in this building, associated with us, came together, worked together to meet the needs. And I have to tell you, I'm really proud of everybody. And I think you all deserve it.
I lost my train of thought because there were other things that you said prior to the incident. Just, can you touch on them?
Sure,
Like,
absolutely. The request for 400 block of Bristol Pike for the no stopping and standing. The announcement of Jake Allen's resignation.
no.
Middle Street? Stop sign?
The stop sign.
Your favorite stop sign.
That's what I wanted to. There was so much said. It must be getting old, I can't remember this stuff.
Welcome to the club.
I have a lot of besides myself, a lot of mixed emotions about this stop sign. I mean, some people there's positives, some people have a lot of negative. I mean, I don't know, I know we did a traffic study on this thing, I don't know, I really don't know if it belongs there, it doesn't belong there. How do we proceed, 6 months from that? Or some days the traffic's backed way up. I mean,
I haven't seen.
No.
because people are stopping, you get like a
Right.
busy.
I mean, what type of backup? I haven't seen anything.
It could be backed up past the bank, let's put it that way, which could be 10 cars. But do you really believe that this stop sign is a plus? I don't know,
Can
Chief,
I
I'm just,
interject here? When you're sitting at that restaurant on the corner, okay, and I have seen so many people almost get killed there.
I just
know-
want to remind you, remember that you and Council Vice President, myself, were standing on the corner there that one
Yeah.
day?
Yes.
So, I
And
mean,
I
that's-
think we haven't been able to see that yet.
Goes from there.
Because the summer's
no,
not.
I'm not saying, I'm saying, is there another way to slow traffic besides a complete stop?
You talked about traffic calming devices, and they do exist. However, they are a nightmare for snowplows, and they are also usually turned into a nightmare for the area residents. Since you have apartments on top, you usually have vehicles making bottom out noises and stuff
I don't
like
mean
that.
speed bumps, they're,
But that's the only two solutions that I know of, is that and is what we did. And I think you're going to be okay with it. I mean, I think if people are going to.
I think it's also going to get more congested when we have the condos finally fill in, and they have their restaurant, and you have traffic.
feels about
You
it.
know, I'm for it, I thought it was a great
So
idea,
I'm totally for it.
I
and,
think you gotta give it,
time.
you know, at least a time, go through our summer season, especially when you start thinking about all the different events that go on. I know as a couple of you have said, you know, if you sit there and you watch people trying to get across the street and people almost getting run over.
Terrible.
You know, that's surely worth it. But, you know, if it's gonna compound the problem relative to traffic flow, then it's something we've gotta look at, but I
There
think we
was
gotta do it
a-
over time.
A gentleman that approached me and said, when we did Jefferson Avenue, we wrote the word "stop" on the ground. And he said, maybe that's, because he said, I went through it, you know, I went through it.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
That might
I can give you the list of people who went through it,
Ralph,
they're also
it's-
I
internal
know.
police officers.
It's not
But
even-
it's this, it comes down to this, if that would be great, if you could put the word "stop" out there. What I plan on doing is December 26th, believe it or not, is put the stop sign in front of the Christmas tree. Because, you know, there's just so much going on down there right now, first of all. So I agree with you if we can get more out there. But we never did it as a revenue maker, you know, don't ever think that, the public shouldn't really think that. We
Right.
did it as complete safety.
Right.
The guys aren't out there, the guys have all been educated, that's not what we're looking for. We're out there to educate people, and we're using it to basically make it pedestrian safe.
And it takes time, because let me tell you, I sat out there with you and Ralph, I wanted it there, and the minute we got it up, I told all my family about it.
Me
I'm
too.
coming down the street and I keep going.
Me
I said,
too.
oh my God, I just stopped. So it's just, it's also a habit, you gotta get used to
What are you
it.
hearing on Mill Street?
I mean, all the same things you guys are saying. My basic belief and understanding about it is that it's gonna take time, you know, and I feel like that would be the case if you put a stop sign anywhere that's new, you know?
Yeah.
I
and-
think also too, it does have an impact on the other intersection we're concerned about, which is Market Street right at the theater. It does slow that traffic
Well,
going
that
that way.
traffic's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think,
All right.
hopefully we're able to
Just
do something with that
Wanted to
too.
throw it out there and hear what everybody had to say.
and I know.
Because I think some members, including myself, didn't even know that was being put up.
Oh, we didn't know it was, they
State
didn't tell
told
us
us
either.
that.
The state just
We were notified after it was up.
That's the question I have. We knew there was going to be a traffic study. I got 2 phone calls on the way back from Doylestown about stop signs going up there, and what are we doing? And when I got down there, nobody knew, everybody's saying nobody knows about it.
You know where I came from, and I know what the
Amanda's
Department of
got the answer.
Transportation across the Delaware does.
Here we
But
go.
maybe she can
We
see
got
it.
it right now.
Yeah, and we had requested from PennDOT to see if they could look into putting a stop sign in. They gave us just an email approval that they were looking to put the stop sign in. We weren't notified that they actually went out there. Again, same thing we found out the day when it just showed up. They were actually supposed to put the flashers on the stop sign, especially, and the flash, stop ahead signs as well. For whatever reason, that didn't happen, so they did go back out the next week and put the flashers on, which I think has helped to at least notify people that the stop sign's there now. But, you know, if it's something that, like you said, you're gonna have to, it's gonna take some time. But if there's, you know, some concern down the road, maybe next summer, we can look into other traffic calming devices. Like you said, there's pros and cons to both, but.
I think, Amanda, the question you just answered is, your office, the chief's office, the manager's office, and all of council did not know that stop sign was being put up that day.
Right.
We thought there was, and I think Louis just said it, a study being done.
I think they're going to look at Market Street, to tell you the truth. And that's where,
We need to stop the late.
and we never heard anything from the state, and that was where, you know, I went down and talked to the guys that day, and He said, look, here's our work order, we're,
Right, I think it might have been more of like a scheduling thing with PennDOT that.
I think it was nice weather, and they got
It could have been.
the word to go put it up.
Yeah, so we could always do a yield to pedestrian sign or something, if that's a concern that a stop sign is maybe a little too much or backing up traffic, we can look into something.
Do we have the right at this point in time to take that down if PennDOT?
We'd have to
determines-
coordinate with PennDOT.
Yeah.
And it seems, I thought it was really gonna be, I thought there was gonna be a lot more negative
Right, yeah, there's not.
press, a lot negative activity about it than there was. I was actually surprised when I saw an email with Robert and Bruce thanked the borough for,
Yeah.
for putting it up. I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, and the
But-
people coming out, it's crazy.
You
when
know,
they're
with all
coming
We
out.
need to slow it down somewhere, so I think it's gonna
Yeah.
help. I don't wanna see speed bumps or anything. But if we're worried about traffic, the flow of traffic, we ought to really do something. I keep complaining about this, about people double parking on Mill Street.
I agree.
And there's nothing more frustrating when you're sitting there and you're waiting and a truck can't get by because somebody's double parked next to two empty parking places.
Yes.
Or, they could pull two spaces ahead. And I don't know what we can do about that, but it just seems like Mill Street and a couple blocks on Jefferson Avenue, everybody just thinks you just stop your car, put your flashers on, or,
Yep.
and that's okay. But
You
I
know-
think that if we could eliminate some of that, it might help the traffic flow. And if they have to stop, I was out talking to Officer Mike Davitsky when he was out. And actually, while he's out, and he's trying to warn people, there are people that blow through it, even seeing that the cop car's there with the flashers
I don't
on.
think they know it's.
And it's just, they're so used to doing it. And Mike said, yeah, there's a stop sign there. People,
Just to, again, it's sometimes awkward to be a business owner on that street as well as a council member, but one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, I never realized it until being a business owner there, especially in the food industry where you get deliveries, is that not everybody has access to the back of their building, especially for food deliveries. There's nowhere for a bigger kind of truck to actually park, and it is a commercial district. So people are getting deliveries, and there's
that's not the
really.
kind of double parking.
Okay, I got you. I thought that's what
If
you
you're
meant.
picking up the lady at the hairdresser.
I got you.
You can pull up 2 spaces.
Yeah.
If you're the pizza delivery man, that's not the same deal as, and and some of it do it next to empty spaces. Now, I know, and I have to make deliveries on Mill Street,
Right.
and I realize you have a delivery truck, you have to do that, but it's just the people that just
I got
park there for convenience, for their convenience.
And why don't you explain the crosswalk from the King George to the canteen and what we're doing there?
Yeah, so there's currently crosswalks, crossing Mill Street at that intersection, but there was no official crosswalk to cross Radcliffe Street from the King George to the Mill Street Cantina. I know I've done it myself coming up from the boat docks, that's sort of the most convenient, location to cross Radcliffe at that intersection. I did speak with PennDOT and was coordinating extensively with them. They weren't going to give us authorization to put stripe that crosswalk in to make it an official crossing unless we had an ADA compliant curb ramp on the King George side. There is a ramp right now that's on the Cantina side that they've acknowledged that they're going to upgrade, I believe, in the next year or so. We got authorization from PennDOT to put that curb ramp in at the King George.
Completed, isn't it, Jim?
What's that?
That's been completed on.
Right, yeah, and I think it has been done. So that we're able to stripe that crosswalk now to help, again, alleviate some of the pedestrian traffic and increase in pedestrian traffic that's at that intersection now because of all the restaurants, businesses, the boat docks, everything that kind of happened this summer. So we're hoping that crosswalk too will kind of help to alleviate some
We
of the
did that
concerns.
in-house, so our own guys. The other question is how much longer are we before we have a design for that area of ground when we make that right-hand turn? Because that's just, I go down there a lot because our guys are renovating, and it's just totally jammed up down there, so.
Yeah,
I'd
we
like
can.
to get that done before summer comes in.
Okay, yeah, we can work on a couple of options on how
The
to.
council,
We get it approved yet or no? We're waiting to
we're
get it
waiting
approved?
on you know,
Okay.
as soon as you can get us something to go out to bid with, we would
Yeah.
like to move forward.
Okay. All right. I think we could probably do 2 options and maybe select from there which way we would want to proceed then and put that out to bid.
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, there's certain communities that have almost like a brick crosswalk that I
Right.
think is an overlay over top of your macadam. Is that an allowable thing from PennDOT, over the PennDOT roads, and if not,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do allow it. There's obviously, an
do you have
approved.
any idea what the cost, or can you find?
I can certainly get the cost. I
The
do.
ballpark figure, just.
I mean, it's obviously more expensive than the regular thermoplastic, just painting a crosswalk, but yeah, I can get you pricing
I
on
think
it.
there's some key spots in the borough that I think it would really
Yeah, I
pay to
think,
make that investment.
That's actually asphalt, Louis.
Is it stamped asphalt?
Yeah,
Some
it's
of that looks
stamped
like it's
asphalt.
laid on top.
It's stamped.
yeah, they do have a
We
couple
went
different
to
products.
Princeton University, when we were doing our roads, we took a ride and we looked at all their crosswalks, how they were done with either cobblestone or brick, or it's just stamped blacktop. It's nice.
I've seen them too with the lighting in them.
It also,
Right.
I mean, in my opinion, it can be a bit of a speed suppressant, if you're gonna go over one of those, you get a little, and I don't think people would wanna fly down over those. I mean, I like that idea too.
Yeah, and Richboro just put them in as well, so I can certainly get pricing on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions about anything? Okay, thanks. All right, let's go through council and we should be good. Lorraine, you have anything?
I don't have anything, all I wanted to thank the police department, the fire department, Merle Winslow, and whoever, the mayor as well, everybody that was involved in the problem that we had the other day, so thank you.
Greg?
I want to thank the planners of the parade and the tree lighting. I don't think we've been here since then, right? Since then. I think everybody did a fantastic job. I think there are obviously things we can all learn from as we see these events go down, and I think we just kind of take that and run with it. One thing, I just kind of throwing it out there, I haven't talked to the parade planners about this at all. I think they do a fantastic job. They work for free, so please don't anyone take this as a criticism. But we went to the Westchester Christmas parade as well, which was very nice. My brother lives there. And one thing that they had like 25 marching bands. And so we just kind of started to just ask, because we were near a guy that actually knew a lot about it, just how do they get so many bands? And they have, someone donates money, but it's an award. So there's a judge, and the best marching band gets that award. And of course, marching bands need money to sustain their programs. So just, a thought moving forward. I don't want to volunteer them for anything. They already work very hard and volunteer themselves, but I think there are people out there that would be willing to help if there was some money that was either allotted or raised just for that marching band element, because, people like music on top of the fire trucks and the floats and all that other stuff. And I think that would be a nice thing to consider. The other thing they do, and I'm in the business of getting Mr. Winslow a little nervous at times, I think, is they have a 5K or they have a Santa Claus run right before. And it actually, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because everything's already shut down and you don't have to do anything really new for that to occur. And it brought in a lot of people. Just an idea that I think might be a good one, just to continue to have people come to the borough. So I'm trying to think, Mr. Winslow, about times when it's less of a headache, not as much of a headache as it could be if we had to shut down all the streets like more than once. If everything's already shut down, it might be something to consider. And then, while we're talking events, and I think, we really need to continue to push. I know, we've come really to rest on and rely on a lot of the volunteer groups in town, like Raising the Bar and the Bristol Borough Business Association and the Restaurant Association to continue to move things. And I think it's a great public and private partnership that should absolutely continue. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but a reporter from, I guess, the Courier put something on Facebook saying, you guys have done so much, so great, but now that the small business revolution is over, what's your next step? What's your next plan? And I know our volunteer organizations talk a lot about that, but I would just kind of throw out there just the idea of us starting to think a little more progressively about what we're willing to take on, even when they certainly have some risks associated with them. Beer Festival being a prime example of something that, you go to Newtown, you go to Yardley, you go to Kennett Square, you go to these places, they all have it. And I certainly recognize the concerns that go along with it, and I'm not saying that they are by any means invalid, or that they should not be addressed and thought about, but I would definitely like to see this borough at some point in time take on the idea of a very well orchestrated and carefully planned beer festival. I'm not talking about tomorrow, I'm not even talking about in 6 months. I'm just saying, let's think about those kinds of things as we are continually trying to draw people to town. While we do the events that are successful, I think we need to start thinking about some new ones as well. So, that's all I have.
Thank you. Louis?
I just wanted to thank everybody. Thursday, I was out of town, so I got to watch it, the news breakouts and everything else, on a pretty regular basis, and having grandchildren in the schools and daughters and daughter-in-laws and nieces and friends working in the schools. It was pleasant to see the borough. The borough really came across looking nice on the newscast, if that could be, it's not a nice event, but we did, there was not a lot of negativity. The town looked nice. I told the chief, I hope we don't lose him to Hollywood, because there's a lot of, he come across really well on the TV interview.
Really good.
And there's a lot of openings now with all the happenings. And glad to have somebody with a clean record up there, but as for your interview, it was very good, and I want to thank everybody. Not being here, I missed out, but sometimes it's good to miss out on something like that. But the town looked good. Thank everybody that was involved.
Tony?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Patty?
I just want to go on record and say that I have a plaque, and I'm going to read it quickly.
Now?
Yeah, I'm just going to read it now. It's for, no, it's for Puerto Rico, from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
First of all, I just want everyone to know that from Bristol Borough alone, we are still shipping 400 packages a week to Puerto Rico. A lot of people are still helping people in need there. Joel Baracol is phenomenal sending stuff. We're still collecting stuff all the time. And we kind of help each other. I get donations, I give them to him. We get addresses and we ship them out. I'm also working with some people that are looking for any families that have moved here from Puerto Rico for the holidays that need help. They're doing a clothing drive, and all I need is names. I got a few names, and it's in Bucks County. It's not just for Bristol Borough. Anybody knows anybody in Bucks County who knows a family that needs any kind of help with coats and, winter gear and Christmas. You can inbox me, and we have a few names. We might already have the names that you're thinking about, but I don't know, these are just citizens that want to help. And Karen Rodriguez reached out to me, and we got these names, and we reached out to the schools, and we did it in Bristol Township, we did it in Morrisville, we did it in Bristol Borough. And it's, amazing all the help that we're getting for the people that need help for these children so that they have a decent Christmas. I have a plaque here I'm going to read. Let me make sure I can read it this way. It's the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce. On October 21st, 2017, on behalf of the Governor of Puerto Rico, Ricardo Rossello Nevares, and the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce, as well as our tens of thousands of businesses and individual members, this award is presented to the community of Bristol, Pennsylvania on this day. It is rare that an entire community is willing to dedicate so much time and energy for the benefit of others. But Bristol has proven itself to be community willing to put their own needs aside to help their fellow men. Your hard work, dedication, and contributions will greatly contribute to the improvement of the welfare of the people of Puerto Rico. And for that, we will be forever grateful. Thank you for your service. This is from the Governor of Puerto Rico. His name is Ricardo Rossello Nevares, and this plaque is going to be up here. I don't know where Mr. Dillon decides to put it, but I think that's an honor coming from Puerto Rico. And the person that spearheaded this Chamber of Commerce told me that from all the cities and all the places that they got contributions, Bristol Borough gave the most. And that was when we started our ethnic benefits, and just this community is outstanding. Thank you, everyone. And I probably can't stop thanking you till I know everybody's okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Joe, you have anything?
No, other than maybe just a little comment on something that Councilman Pezza said. Relative to like the parade, I've been on the parade committee, served on a couple times. And music is the hardest thing to get because everybody gets paid.
Right.
I can tell you that one of the local nonprofits here used to support, or used to sponsor a bagpipe band. They were $1,000. The high schools don't come for free anymore. You might get Truman if they're not somewhere else playing, but all the other local high schools, they need 500, they need 750. So it's not so much that the people that work on the parade committee don't want to have music. They just don't have enough money
I believe that.
to provide it.
Bullet,
True.
yeah.
And they don't have the manpower to cover those kind of things. I think the race idea is interesting, but again, it takes so many people. I ran a road race here years ago. We had 850 people show up for it.
Right.
But it takes a lot of volunteers.
I believe that as well. And, one of the things I forgot to mention is that race costs money.
Oh, yeah.
And that money is then used for whatever, additional things could be used for the actual.
They run a couple fundraisers during the year, bingos and basket sales. And
Yeah, and the other thing that I was saying.
Plus the borough, if they didn't get the borough's contribution, there
Right,
would be
of
no
course.
Christmas
Yep.
parade.
And the other thing the guy was saying is exactly what you were saying, and he said, but the way they get around it is they have that, it becomes a little bit prestigious for them because it's like the winner, the best,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they want to compete, and then they know if they win, they do get money. So,
We used to do we did a mayor's trophy, we did a council, all those kind of things to the different bands. But if you're not talking money to get them there, they're not worried about getting a trophy.
Not at all meant as a criticism against the parade plan.
No, I understand, I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
The only thing is the work session agenda. All the items that have been listed are on your agenda for the 7 o'clock meeting. The only item that may require a little additional information is the replacement of the Borough Canal Trail interpretive signs. This is a 4-party agreement with the Borough Council, Friends of the Delaware Canal, the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation, as well as the Grundy Foundation. So it's a 4-party agreement. So
That's on the agenda.
that's on the agenda.
Jim, I'm sorry, I did have something that I forgot to ask you about. I couldn't find number 8 item for consideration in the packet. It says enclosed. I'm sure it's there, and I'm just missing it.
You were presented with the budget.
Right.
So it's just a motion to adopt those budgets
Okay.
for 2008.
So number 8,
So it's just a motion.
it's,
to
okay,
adopt.
okay. So it's enclosed in the budget. Gotcha.
Eight, the.
It's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
An ordinance that's attached also.
Okay.
Should be 2 ordinances.
Okay, Phil, do you have anything? Anybody else have anything before we end this first meeting? Anyone have any questions on the agenda for the next meeting? Can I get a motion to end this meeting? Motion by Betty. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Croce. All in favor?